Wow, we're here. I'm Wendy Diamond, and I am thrilled to be here today to celebrate with you Women's Entrepreneurship Day organizations. We do day. Woohoo! In 2013, I founded this day, this movement, after taking a vacation to Honduras. At the time, it was the murder capital of the world. I ended up volunteering for the Adelante Foundation, which provides microloans to impoverished women. These women might have been earning 50 cents a day if they even had a job. I will always remember this one woman. She was 73 years old and she had 3 little kids. I was like, wow, how on earth did you have these 3 little kids? And she told me that her daughter passed away and the husband ran off. So she took responsibility and to care for her grandchildren. And she received a microloan from Adelante. And this enabled her to open up a window in her one-room hut with a dirt floor that she lived in with these 3 little kids. And she started selling Cokes and toothpaste, which enabled her to earn enough money to pay $1 a month for those grandchildren to attend school. Be educated. Women are paying these microloans back at a 98% rate of return around the world. 90% of the money they earn goes back to educating their children and providing for their families, uplifting the entire community. We won't get into where the men put it, just kidding. Women worldwide have historically been underpaid, undervalued, underrepresented, underfunded, and underestimated. Go Kamala! And still are to this day. I knew if we could create a simplified movement to uplift the 4 billion women on the planet, to create better futures for themselves, and ultimately achieve gender equality. We can do it. I know we can. 7 years later, I am proud to say the WEDO movement is stronger than ever. We have an army of over 300 global ambassadors leading and celebrating our movement in 144 countries. Empowering women and girls to become active participants in the economy by igniting a network of women leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs to initiate startups, drive economic expansion, and advance communities around the world. This year, we are so excited to welcome NASDAQ, the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, Google for Startups, MIT Innovation Labs, WeGate, sponsored by the European Union, Girl Scouts, Romanian National Confederation for Female Entrepreneurship, and so many more who are celebrating Women's Entrepreneurship Day today amongst the world. And they are collaborating with us to bring awareness to our mission, to empower the 4 billion women on the planet, to be catalysts for change and uplift the 250 million girls living in poverty. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect lives and livelihoods around the world, we are seeing devastating effects on women-owned businesses that threaten to reverse decades of economic gains for women. With the economic turmoil due to this pandemic, women and minorities have been the hardest hit economically. So investing in women has never been more critical and important. Women are the future, yes, us, woohoo, to economic success and development around the world. The data proves it. When public companies with at least 30% women in leadership positions are 6% more profitable, but sadly, female-founded companies only receive 2% of venture funding in the US, something's wrong. While gender gaps can cost an economy almost 15% of the GDP, a scenario in which women play an identical role in labor markets to that of men in all countries across the world, that is as much as 28 trillion or 26% could be added to the global annual GDP by 2025. Global economic reports have shown that women have been the main driving force of economic growth in the last few decades. And it is critical that we continue to support women to drive even more growth in decades to come. Women are an undeniable, incredible, and uplifting and empowering women. We uplift communities, economies around the world. Thank you so much for being here, enjoying our movement, and supporting our movement and our mission. Women's Entrepreneurship Day is every day. Support, empower, and celebrate women in business. We together can change the world, and we have an amazing day for you coming up.
Welcome to Women's Entrepreneurship Day 2020. Hi, I'm Darby Schlosser, and I want to be a veterinarian who specializes in musical therapy for animals.
Hi, I'm Evelyn Lee, and when I grow up, I want to be an artist. One day, I'm going to have my painting in the museum too.
Dallas Grant. I want to be a pastry chef when I grow up. I'm only 7, but when I grow up, I want to have my own bakery that is called Dallas Cafe.
Hi, I'm Belle Henry. I want to be a doctor when I grow up because I could cure bad diseases like COVID-19 and cancer and the flu.
Hi, my name is Ari Kane and I'm 6 years old. When I grow up, I want to be a veterinarian because my dog goes to a woman and she's a veterinarian and she told me girls can do whatever they want.
Hi, I'm Brooke Monroe Conaway, and when I grow up, I want to be an actress because I love playing pretend and being different characters. I know I can do it because I'm a girl and girls are powerful and girls can be anybody they want.
Amanda Daniel. I like to be a meteorologist because I like to tell about weather and I like checking the weather every day.
My name is Annabelle Ross. I want to be so many things when I grow up, but if I could choose one person to be when I grow up, it would have to be Lucille Ball, an amazing actress and an incredible woman. I remember in one episode she was fighting for equal rights. Aren't we still fighting for that? Anyways, if I turn on the news right now, I bet I'd find people shouting, "Fight for women! Fight for women!"
I'm so happy to be here and I'm so glad to be here and I'm so honored to have you all here. As you can imagine, I'm going to set this up. This is virtual, right? So it's not like the United Nations where we usually are. And it's really, I want to make sure that everyone has the best time today. So please, this is Zoom, so we know what to do, right? Go to chat and we're going to have an amazing breakout session at the end that we're going to have all the speakers are going to be there. I'm going to force them to be there. I'm not with them right now to drag them in there, but I'm going to be on text and get them there. And I want to say today, I have made a commitment that Women's Entrepreneurship Day Foundation is going to donate today and match anyone today that is on here and that to the rest of the day. If they donate $1, they donate $100. This whole movement is based on a ground up approach. And our whole goal today is to fund 1,000 impoverished women with microloans to start their entrepreneurial journey and get them out of poverty. And that's what our whole movement's about. It's a grassroots movement from the ground up. We might have the most powerful and exciting people here today, but they're all here for that one reason. So I'm gonna kind of put in that link there, because if you guys donate $1, $5, $10, forget this Starbucks coffee, forget whatever else, and then I'm going to match it and we're going to fund 1,000 people by the end of the day. And I hope you will join us on that journey. But first off, I want to now welcome, because usually we hold this at the United Nations. And if anybody's been there at our summit that we do every year, and note we are around the world right now, 144 countries that are celebrating this. We have an amazing summit at the United Nations. And, we're all virtual, right? And that's why we're going to have fun today, because we're going to be fun in the virtual world. And I want to welcome one of my favorite people on earth from the United Nations, who has been a big supporter of women all over the world and is with us today to speak on behalf of the United Nations Environmental Program. Please welcome Satya Trapathi. Woohoo!
Thank you, Wendy. Greetings, everyone. As Wendy said, we can't be at the UN today owing to COVID, but when Women Entrepreneurship Day organization can't get to the UN comes to the women entrepreneurs. So here I am um, to speak for the UN, of course, but more importantly, speak for women entrepreneurs and the amazing things they do worldwide, and why we at the UN are so proud of our female colleagues, of course, who are entrepreneurs in their own right, trying to make a significant difference in every sphere of life as we can imagine, but also in the work they do with millions and millions of women worldwide in trying to improve their plight, and with that, the plight of the world at large. Let me start by congratulating Wendy for her amazing entrepreneurship and spirit in getting this going several years ago. And I have had the privilege of attending several of these summits every year, of course. And I have seen Wendy in action in many parts of the world, and the amazing spirit she brings to bear on the work that she supports around the world. One of the projects where she is associated with is something that I'm also very strongly associated with, and as is the United Nations, is a project back in India where they're converting 6 million farmers to zero chemical farming. And that's primarily driven by women farmers who have organized themselves into self-help groups of 10 women each. And, and through their imagination and dedication and hard work, they're doing something that is absolutely extraordinary in terms of both the effort and also the impact on a planetary scale. So much so that their work is now being recognized in different parts of the world. In the Paris Peace Forum last year, they were recognized as the most innovative idea that could save the world. Farmers in Rwanda, in Mexico, in Indonesia, in other parts of the world are now looking at this and visiting them to see how best to replicate this low input, high output farming without any synthetic chemicals or pesticides. Now, that's just one example of the kind of work that Wendy has been associated with. But now on to women entrepreneurs. And I have been a great beneficiary myself of women entrepreneurs, starting with my grandmother and my mother. They are the best entrepreneurs I know. Yes, they were not in business. They were not going out to work, but they worked 24/7 to make us what we are today. And in that, my gratitude, of course, to my grandmother and my mother, but more importantly to women around the world who selflessly do things without any expectations, without any demands on those that they benefit silently, and no matter what I say, that will fall short of the gratitude I feel for not just the women in my own family or in the broader UN family, but also women around the world in what they do every day in a selfless but a very meaningful manner. Talking about COVID-19, women, Wendy already mentioned this, women are the most vulnerable in this situation, especially when small businesses are closing down, and people are being laid off because businesses cannot afford to hire people anymore because they're closing down. And in that, women being caregivers and doctors and nurses and all the wonderful and amazing work they do. Alongside that, they're also the victims of a crisis that is not of any of our making, is that of nature. And I'll close by a few words on nature. Climate crisis, although COVID is a huge crisis, but climate crisis is the mother of all crises. And then this is not going to go away anytime soon. We will be seeing many more pandemics in the years ahead. And in that, the leadership of women, the entrepreneurship they bring to bear on this existential challenge to humanity will be extremely important as we move forward. So the solidarity among women, the solidarity among all humans in supporting women, in doing what they best do, that is nature and nurture, will be extremely important in dealing with the climate crisis, preventing environmental degradation, and rebuilding our ecosystems, thereby rebuilding public health to save not just humans, but indeed the entire planet. Thank you and congratulations to you all for the amazing entrepreneurship that you bring to bear every day, every hour, every minute. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. I'm delighted to be speaking during the 2020 Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Thanks to my friend Wendy Diamond, our founder, for her incredible vision in making this celebration happen. I've enjoyed participating in your past events at the United Nations, where women from all walks of life came together to share ideas. And I'm proud that our administration was part of one of the very first Women's Entrepreneurship Days in the nation. The work you do to educate the world and empower women in business globally is vital. And the fact that your organization is an all-volunteer one speaks to the energy behind these efforts to financially elevate women across the globe to alleviate poverty and help them and their communities succeed. It's important now more than ever to discuss the future of women in business and entrepreneurship. We need to continue to elevate underrepresented voices on key issues. This is crucial now because women, particularly women of color, have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. Remember all the talk about the essential workers and how they were the unsung heroes of the pandemic? No surprise that 65% of essential workers are women. Countless women have either lost their minimum wage jobs or have been working on the front lines of the battle against this deadly virus. The toll this crisis will take on millions of women is vast, and we cannot afford to let this national moment pass without embracing the opportunity to right some of the wrongs that have plagued women long before COVID-19. When I talk to business leaders from Buffalo to Manhattan, I ask them what they think the greatest barrier to this comeback is. After we deal with the healthcare crisis, they say unprompted that they have a childcare problem. They can't get the female workers back because unfortunately, the weight of responsibility to this day in 2020 still falls on women, especially when schools are shut down. In order to get our economy firing back on all cylinders, we must address the stress and burdensome cost of childcare. It is no longer an individual family's problem. It's a problem for our economic recovery. And it's finally now part of the national conversation. Here in New York, we are investing in childcare. And we also nurture and help businesses and entrepreneurs and MWBEs by giving them a share of funding to help reach their goals and ensure their success. New York has also made strides to support women and minority-owned businesses right here. In 2014, Governor Cuomo set the nation's highest goal for MWBEs at 30% of state contracts. New York has awarded over $3 billion in state contracts to MWBEs to help them succeed. We also focus intensely on issues that affect women's lives directly. It didn't take a pandemic for us to know that it was wrong to force someone to go to work sick because they need to put food on the table for their family. So we enacted a paid sick leave policy. And it was wrong that parents had to choose between earning a living and being there during the first months of welcoming a child into the world or being there in the last days for a dying loved one. So we enacted the most generous paid family leave program in America. Ending gender and racial inequality, goals that have eluded a definitive resolution throughout most of our nation's history, are also worth fighting for now more than ever. In the 100 years since the passage of the 19th Amendment, we've made great strides with more women, especially women of color, rising to leadership positions in business, politics, and beyond. And I'm very excited to see the elevation of the very first woman vice president, who will be a role model for many, many others. But until women's rights are fully protected and women are equally represented in the corridors of power, we still have more work to do. Now more than ever, we need to embrace this fight for real change. Organizations like WEDO bring women together so we can lift each other up and pass along our wisdom to the next generation. Thank you for all you do, and I look forward to addressing you in person next year at the United Nations. Thank you.